If you clicked on this video, it means that you're about to make a significant change in your current lifestyle. But how ready are you to make that change? Are you feeling motivated? What about that next step? Don't worry, there's a model that's been designed just for that. Health Psychology outlines 5 stages of change. This is literally the scientific roadmap to understand change, potential obstacles, and how to get to the next level based on where you're at right now. Today I'm here to break it down for you to make it as easy as possible so you can pinpoint exactly where you're at in this journey. This is crucial because try to force the change too early and it won't be sustainable. That's the reason why so many people quit in the first place. As a fitness coach, I've helped my clients figure this out. Today I'm going to walk you through these stages. First, we need to talk about the model. So the model of change is used in modern medicine to understand the individual's position regarding change. It is not just some scientific theory, it's a tool that you can apply to your current situation right now. There are 5 levels to it: pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, and maintenance. We're going to be focusing specifically on stages 2, 3, and 4 because that's probably what you need the most. If you're watching this, it means that you're already starting to think about making a change, which directly puts you into stage 2. But every stage is crucial and everyone begins at stage 1. Skipping stages might seem like a shortcut, but it's really not. It would mean that you're missing out on key steps that are necessary for change to last. We're doing one step at a time to make sure that 1, you don't get overwhelmed, and 2, you actually engage and make the change permanent. So to make this easier, we're going to use an avatar. So John, we'll be using John to illustrate his journey and to make sense of the progression through these stages. Quick background to put it in context. John is a young professional, just got out of school, and he works at a firm in Toronto, basically having a 9-to-5 office job. But since leaving high school, he hasn't engaged in much physical activity, leading to a slight weight gain and lack of muscle tone. So let's start with the first stage. At this level, change is not present in the mind of the individual yet. They're not aware that their unhealthy behaviors might be a problem and that they would benefit from tweaking their lifestyle for a healthier version. For John, this means that he hasn't considered joining a gym or changing his diet. He doesn't perceive his shortness of breath after climbing the stairs of flight. But at this point, it wouldn't be useful to push him towards action because he doesn't have any need or want to do it anyway. If John pays attention to the cues that his physical health is not the greatest, he's going to start to enter slowly into stage 2, which is contemplation. At this stage, he starts to notice that he's not in the best shape of his life. He sees his friends actively engaging in sports and leading healthier lifestyles. So he starts to question himself and his lifestyle choices. On top of that, he sees photos of himself younger. At this point, he realizes that time has passed and he's not where he'd hoped he would be physically. He's not aware that there's a problem and he's contemplating change, but he's not ready to commit yet, so he doesn't do anything about it. The thought of hitting the gym or altering his diet doesn't seem appealing or even realistic for the moment. The idea needs to mature in his mind, and it's just a little seed right now. Because John is still too comfortable with his current routine, caught up in the famous, maybe I should change, but he's not going anywhere beyond that thought. This stage is very important because it's the one where most people find themselves in. In this part of the process, ambivalence is normal. If you find yourself in this stage, you'll keep asking yourself if, after all, you really have to change and how difficult it would be. And then you just stop thinking about it. Then it comes back. It's just like this constant on and off thing that leads to nothing concrete. Yet. To move forward to the next stage, what you need is clarity. Take a step back to objectively assess your life and to be able to highlight exactly what you wish were different. If you could instantly change one thing through a magical finger snap, what realistic change would that be? This mental exercise will help you identify your true desire for change and free you from the burden of contemplating the how, because right now we're too focused on the what first. The goal at this stage isn't immediate transformation, but rather to gain a clear understanding of the situation to pave a path forward. And if you can answer that one question with a simple line, you will find yourself moving on to stage 3. For John, after a moment of reflection, it becomes clear. He wants to regain his physical fitness to feel and move better. He wants to see his muscles and to build a physique he's proud of. This realization is his step forward to actual change. Stage 3 is preparation. If I had to guess, chances are if you're watching this video, you're probably in this stage right now. So now John has acknowledged that his problem was his physical condition. There's just no way to deny it anymore. He's overweight and his muscles are underdeveloped. He knows what he wants though, and he has a clear objective. He's prepping himself in order to act, so he goes on Google Map and he searches for like the closest gym in his neighborhood. However, this is also the time where you might feel overwhelmed because suddenly there's a lot to consider. Should you start with the gym? Should you learn specific exercises, focus on meal prepping, dive into the macros, nutrients, that kind of thing? Because during stage 3, you prepare yourself to take action. That's where you start to plan out, set goals, buy pieces of equipment. You're getting ready to make the change at this point in your mind into reality. But it's a roller coaster. It's the most exciting and daunting phase because you start to imagine your life with the change, but also the immensity of the work you're about to start. And at this point, it is crucial that you plan your way ahead correctly. The transition between stage 3 and 4 is the hardest and the most important one. That's why I've built a complete all-in-one structure to get you in shape, giving you all the preparation tools that you might need regarding exercise, nutrition, and optimization so that you don't waste any time or money because it's free. First link in the description. You won't be disappointed. Now that you have a proper roadmap, it's time to tap into your intrinsic motivation, which stems from a deep emotional desire for change. If you really want to make the change last, it has to be a need to change and not a want. And it's also time we scratch the problem a little. So in our example, John's trigger was a photo of himself from 7 years ago, fitter and just more alive. This realization confronted him to his current physical state and it brought up insecurities. So more than not being in shape, he's aware of the fact that his current body makes him feel powerless. And it's important to confront these emotions, even though it might be scary. But the introspection is where you'll find motivation. It requires finding a compelling enough reason to shift your habits and to confront the discomfort of change. And if you need more about this subject, consider watching the last video. Ultimately, you need to come up with a strong enough reason to force your brain into adapting the habits that you've been cultivating up to that point. That is why change is so intimidating and why so many people quit before they even start. You get away from what you know, the comfort, the routine, to put yourself in this new situation, an environment your brain knows nothing about yet. So pick up a pen and a piece of paper, get your head off of all the distractions, lock yourself in your room if you need to, and answer this question. Which emotions specifically are you feeling regarding your current state? How do you perceive yourself right now? And are you satisfied with your current lifestyle? Enough honesty will lead you to stage 4. So John has thought about how he felt for weeks and he's now ready to make the change. After looking at the best gym in his neighborhood, he bought a membership, got all the necessary pieces of apparel and equipment that he needed, and put his hands on fitness fundamentals. He's been going to the gym for a week now and he's starting to feel like something's slowly changing. That being said, each time that he has to prep his gym bag and head out to the gym, he feels this tension, this appealing want to stay on the couch and to look at his phone rather than going to the gym. And he finds very hard to resist this inner tension. Now's when it starts to get technical. Stage 4 is the stage of action. It is marked by tangible behavioral changes. You're not just planning anymore, you're executing. And as you do, just like John, you will encounter what's called friction. The key here when you encounter this inner tension is to stay rigged on the behavior and not your thoughts. And there's a tool for that called discipline. Because beginning stage 4, you have to break the old patterns and tell your brain that you're in charge right now and you won't be following the unhealthy ancient guidelines anymore. The friction arises from that. Be ready for it because there's no escape from it. The only way is through. That being said, it can only get better with time as your brain starts to slowly shift towards this new routine and adapt its neural structure to it. And here's the most simple daily protocol I came up with to help you stay on track. The first thing that's most important is that you need a clear and actionable, measurable goal. You need to only set one goal and to stick to one goal at a time. That's it. Otherwise, you're going to be overwhelmed by the whole process. For example, John's goal is to work out for an hour 3 times per week at his local gym after work. And after that, the second step is that you need to track it. So let's say that John has a note on his phone where he checks the day and the length of his sessions. Third step is to analyze your progression and to identify obstacles. On the weekend, John looks back at his week and assesses if he met his objective or not. If he did great, if he didn't, he has to list out all the obstacles that have prevented him to do so. And lastly, you need to improve the system and reiterate. That's when you need to find practical and actionable solutions to encounter obstacles. The main barriers to John's goal was the lack of energy after work. He puts his head into it and he thought about a solution that's practical for him. So now he will exercise before going to work rather than after. That's it for stage 4. Stage 5 is maintenance. In other words, how to sustain the change and make it permanent. But I don't want to overwhelm you, and I think we've covered a lot of ground today, so we're not going to get into that. But this will be for another time. So now that you have the structure and the tools necessary, there's nothing actually holding you back from engaging into the process. You just have to follow the steps. Take it one step at a time and stick to the path. Yes, you'll encounter friction and obstacles and you will feel overwhelmed at some point, but that's completely okay as long as you keep engaging. Keep walking and you will end up somewhere eventually. I hope this helps. Trust the process.